Hey everybody, welcome back to Shadows over Loathing. Last we left off, we've dealt with this boat. Got rid of the crows. Destroyed the captain with logic. A mount for binoculars. With the binocular is missing the opportunities for sensing his minerals. Also here in a swamp. Look through the bendy telescope. You'll give the captain one thing. He clearly knew a good telescope when he saw one. From this vantage point with this equipment, you can see all kinds of things, including what looks like a disturbed plank under one of the chairs of the main deck. A disturbed plank under the chairs of the main deck, you say? Dislodge the plank. One of the passengers must have stashed this away from their family or you. You can't rule out that they left this here for you. Let's see. Suddenly, a flock of shadowy bats fly up out of the swamp, leaving not a single ripple on the surface of the water. They do so. It's quite frankly the gothiest thing you've ever seen in your life, and you've probably fought actual vampires by now. Hey! Suffer like G did. Suffer like G did? You won. Back to your Bombus album cover, you stupid bats. Alright. Let's try and... Nope. Try again. We'll tighten the springs, adjust the torque, tweak the sensitivity, add a battery, add a fuse. That'll do. It can't possibly fail. I have made the ultimate trap for things that eat oranges. Did you meet Flyman? Did you get, yeah, got it right here. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put this in a little silver locket and treasure it forever. What was he like? Was this experiment a success? I've got to go. The kid pulls out a sash and pins a badge onto it and hands it to you. As thanks, here's an official Monster Squad sash and your first Monster Squad badge. Neat, thanks. You find the smell of whisk? Sure did. Please don't open the jar while I'm in the room. That bad, huh? I wonder if it's gotten stronger since I've met it. Well, anyway, thanks for your help. You hand over the nose trumpet she lent you and the jar of foulness you collected. The kid takes your sash and pins another badge to it and hands it back to you. Turns out you were right. The honey ape is totally real. Oh my gosh, really? I knew it. Here's your tracing back and that fingernail you wanted. Wow. Huh. Something wrong? I'm torn between excitement and indication and the realization this is much crazier object than I realized it was going to be. Oh, don't worry about it. Honey Ape will be fine. I had 9 more. I guess that's true. Anyway, thanks for your help. Here's another Monster Squad badge. Thanks. But we still got more to do. Explore. God, for the love of it, what's with all these stinking mushrooms? Got spores all over me again. Why, don't shoot them. You'll just get more spores everywhere. Yeah, but I'll feel better about it. Revenge ain't a solution for every situation, kitty, but it works more often than you'd think. Look, just wipe off the spores with this handkerchief. Don't get it all bent out of shape. Never happened when I was working the strong arm jobs. Except for that time that goblin exploded on me. You cautiously enter the spooky hut and discover it's actually really nice inside. A young woman with a rather twig-oriented hat greets you. Oh, hello. Please come in. I don't get many visitors apart from the birds. I might be in the wrong place. Are you Barbara Yagra? That's correct, and you are? I'm Blue's Traveler. A pleasure. Come in, come in. Go on in. It's a really nice house, to be honest. I was expecting everything to be a lot more, you know, witchy. Oh, you've heard the old stories. Those are about my granny. She was really into croning. Croning? Being a crone. You know, all the really old traditional magic stuff. She lived to be nearly 200 years old. When she passed, she left in the house and all her birds and so on. I see. Is that what you hear? Chasing the old legends about Yagra? Well, not exactly. A kid I met who was into stories, but was afraid you might be the witch, the child-eating kind of witch, and so he sent me instead. That's adorable. I don't think I've eaten it. I don't think I've ever eaten a child, but there's no telling what was in Granny's stews. I'm not sure if that was meant as a joke or... Sure. Anyway, I'm supposed to bring back a feather? Prove that I met you. Okay, but I can't just give you one, though. Are you sure? Yeah, sorry. I have to give you some kind of test. It's a traditional thing. What sort of test? Well, it's a lot of work keeping this room clean, what with birds and all. I'm getting rather behind on my chores. Or you could fight me. Fight you? Granny trained all of these birds to be killers, but I haven't exactly been on the lookout for trouble like she used to. See, they could use some exercise, you know? Now let's do the chores. I need to muck out the bird bath out front, pick out the right cattails for my cattail patch for me. That's only two things. The third? Isn't there a third? Of course, but I'll tell you what about that after you finish the first two. Okay, do the chores. Great, you can tell the ripe cactus by how they look a little different. I'm sure you saw the bird bath when you came in. Got it. Ugh. You filth the slop out of the bird bath and hide it behind a tree where no one can see it. Yoink. Yoink. Wow, a Typhropanthria. Okay. Finished. Here's your cattails. Great, thanks. So what's the mysterious third task? Go down in the basement and fetch me a sack of bird seed for me. A basement? How do you have a basement in a swamp? It's weird, I know. I think Granny's magic keeps it from collapsing. It also makes it kind of scary down there. You have a flashlight, right? Yeah, I have a flashlight. Check something. Oh, that's not nearly enough. That should do it. The fuse box is broken beyond repair. You have no choice but to dwell in darkness. Wow, Laura wasn't kidding about it being uncomfortably dark down here. Go deeper. How long is this basement? You're pretty sure you should have reached the back wall by now. Makes sense why she keeps this thing in the basement. The scariest thing about this is the kerning. You don't particularly want to know what this puddle consists of. Jeez, that's a lot of rats. Are they whispering, "Get out"? You can hear that, right? It's not just me? Go deep. The ground started to shake and bits of dirt are crumbling from the ceiling. The rumbling noise almost sounds like someone growling, "Your soul is mine." This seems like bad news. Go deeper. This must be original Baba Yaga's magic books. Unfortunately, it's as dark as the inside of a dog down here. The ground is shaking more violently, furiously even. The walls howl, "Die, fool!" at you as the rocks falling from the ceiling threaten to bury you alive. Go deeper. Finally, get the birdseed, get out of here. I really need to get a better hat. Here's your birdseed. Hello, how are those chores going? Here's your second birdseed. You, kinda undersold how scary it is down there. Sorry about that. Have you learned trying to keep the mice away? And the voices and the bleeding walls? Doesn't sound familiar. Maybe your flashlight was acting up? Anyway, thanks. Here's that feather I promised. Thanks. Huh, I've never seen an indoor bird bath before. Oh, that was a gift. It's too small for my birds, though. You can have it if you like. Cool. What is that bird on now? It's funny, I've looked at that before and I don't think I've ever gotten it. Very strange. You spot a color on this drab swamp catches your eye and you find a pile of withered orange husks in front of a shallow cave. This must be the lair of the Chupanadriga. Fortunately, it isn't home right now. Or maybe since you aren't orange, they wouldn't be dangerous to you anyway? That almost certainly isn't true. Set your trap. You set your trap and hide behind a nearby bush to wait for your prey. After a while, you start getting very bored and remember that people who hunt with traps don't typically sit and wait for their prey to show up. Instead, they leave and come back later. That's kind of the point of animal traps. You can come back later. Howdy, sir. Well, if this isn't the moss man the kid was talking about, you've got a real coincidence here. He isn't exactly fearsome, but if you're looking for a fight, it'd be best to take advantage of a surprise. Talk to him. Excuse me, are you a moss man? Yeah, that's me, Clyde Mossman. Pleased to meet you. I am Blue's Traveler. Look at my humble abode. I ain't getting many visitors. Well, except some weird kid I see peeking around sometimes. Are you an actual moss man? I ain't quite getting your meaning. That's my last name, like I said. Yeah, but are you a human person or some sort of moss swamp creature? I get this is a strangely and possibly rude question. Well, I weren't always this way, but I've been living in this swamp a long time. Just kind of dug in and got comfortable. The moss just sort of grows out of natural like now instead of hair. Guess it happened so gradually, and I got so accustomed to it, it didn't occur to me to question it. Whoops, sorry. Didn't mean to give you some kind of philosophical crisis. No apology necessary, friend, but it seems it's something I'm going to be chewing on for a while. Can I have some of your moss? Excuse me? You're dropping an existential bombshell on me and you're asking for part of my body? I'm not really in top social form today, I guess. I do need some of that moss, though. I'll tell you what, help me solve the puzzle of whether I'm a man or a monster and I'll give you some moss. Well, let's have a look. Let me look at this moss. Oh yeah, this is... I don't know. What's that when it's at home? It's sort of moss version of fungal parasite. It grows on animals that don't move around much, like salt moss and steals the energy and nutrients that would otherwise be used like to make hair. Basically harmless. Well, that's a relief. You ever feel a strong urge to get yourself eaten by wolves, though? I recommend trying to ignore that. Gotcha, so that means I'm a regular human? Well, yeah. With an asterisk next to regular, maybe, but yeah. That's a relief. Let me give some of this moss like I promised. He peels off part of his mustache and hands it to you. Thanks. Say, are you a hobo? Huh. Well, I think about hobos that they're always on the move. I feel like I'm practically the opposite of a hobo. I happen to know a group of hobos that have settled down and built themselves a nice camp. Bet you'd be welcome there if you're interested. Well, now, I do value my solitude, but it certainly couldn't do any harm for me to visit and see. In fact, I do believe I'm due for a vacation. You mark the location of the hobo camp on Clyde's map, and he heads off into the swamp with a wave. Ooh, this moss is covered with Eastern Twinkie mana moss. Anything else here? All the items on this table are either made or covered in moss. As you do. Despite anything the map might have said about it, you managed to wander back to the spot where you set that trap for the thing. Peering through the bushes, you discover that your trap is indeed trapped something. It looks sort of like a giant toe with a tentacle face, covered in boils that might also be eyes. You have no idea what something or other looks like, but this is about as likely as anything you were imagining. The presumed thing seems pretty annoyed about being caught in your trap. Approach it. You carefully sneak up on the Terragog, which senses your presence and thrashes angrily, breaking free of your trap, then turns to face you. It seems mad. Huh, that's never happened before. Oh my god! Drat. How could my trap have failed? Yuan, you quickly cut off one of the creature's nostrils, pick up your trap, get the heck out of here before that thing regains consciousness. Ugh. The shotgun-toting gator hunter hollered at you from behind the trees. You again? I told you to get. Didn't I give you enough money for the bus? Well, here. Yeah, thanks. Hey kid, I caught that car you were after. Well, nearly. I had to tussle with it a bit. Got the job done, though. Wow, that's great. Now we have proof for why there aren't any oranges in the swamp. Sure. Anyway, here's the nostril. Neat, I'll wear it as a ring. Okay. Anyway, don't go near that part of the swamp for a while. It was really mad. The kid takes your sash and pins another badge on and hands it back to you. Oh yes, it's getting good. Hi, any luck getting further from Barbara Yagra? You mean from one of her birds, right? Right, yeah. She doesn't have feathers herself. We established that. Good, just checking. Here you go. Hi, lady, what was she like? She was pretty nice, actually. Don't go in her basement, though. Kid takes your sash, pins another badge to it, and hands it back to you. Thanks. A little sign on the table reads Boris only. It's got a bit of Boris, so there's gonna be trouble. Try and pet it. Boris looks at your sash and nods approvingly. Oh wait. But the muscle you were talking about. See, I told you he's real. Yeah, he seems to be a decent guy, actually. He gave me his mustache. Here. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you. You're welcome. The kid happily sticks the mustache to his upper lip. How do I look? Mossy? This is the best day of my life. The kid takes your sash and pins another badge to it and hands it back to you. Very nice. Okay, that's everybody, right? Okay, where else? Well, I suppose we should do what we came for. Find an old medicine wagon overturned in the swamp. Most of its contents have long since hazardously dissolved into the local ecosystem, but there's probably some stuff left. See what remains. These Gatormen aren't doing enough damage to each other for it to seem like a real fight. Either they're just sparring, or this is how Gatorman arguments work. Either way, they aren't paying attention to you. Sneak past them. This filthy pipe must lead inside, presumably to the bathroom parts inside, if the smell is any indication. Crawl on through. The pipe turns out to be much longer than you expected, with lots of twists and turns. Clearly, efficient airflow and ventilation systems is not a big priority in Gatorman architecture. Eventually come out in either a garbage processing center or the kitchen. Even if the Gatormen bother to cook their meals, they probably don't cook them in an electric stove standing 18 inches of water. This kitchen only in the sense this is a kitchen in the sense that it's a place where food is prepared. Nothing of value on this shelf is probably not even by Gatorman standards. Reigns of an awful meal. It's one of those fridges, you know, the ones hanging on those big rusty chains. See what's inside. The chain wasn't attached very well, and the whole thing came loose. Must be a Gatorman's dinner bell. It would be nonsensical and cruel to ring the dinner bell without making dinner first. Nonsensical and cruel is the Gatorman's standard of behavior. Let's not sink to their level. Let's prepare a feast. What, are you kidding? All the food here is days-old meat with bites taken out of it already. You die. Not from me, the Gatorman. Oh, I get you. Well, there are some big haunches of some sorts carcass strewn about. If you can lift those onto the table, you might have the beginnings of something. You poke around the covers, pulling out everything you can identify as maybe gator food, mainly telling the difference between old lumps of meat and old lumps of mud by whether it's got a bone sticking out of it. Since you don't know whether a Gatorman can avoid food with mold on it or consider it an essential spice, you compromise and only scrape off half. You then pile all of that onto the table and garnish it with parsley sprigs. Hopefully this will hold the guard's attention for a while. Bon appetit. Now here's the thing about mold. Never just try and scrape it off and eat anyway. You may not see it, but there are little tendrils going through the food. It didn't start on the outside. Well, actually, yes, it did. It started on the outside, but it's reaching through into it to eat the rest. Just because you don't see anything doesn't mean it's okay to eat it, okay? This would be a Gatorman's dinner bell. With a bang on the bell and with the discarded bone, and then crouch next to the door. Gatorman guards all stream in and immediately start fighting over who gets the juiciest lumps, of whatever those lumps are made out of, and don't notice you sneaking out into the hall. Sneaky, sneaky. You don't want to go there now. There's a nasty feast underway. You might get mistaken for dessert. A forge, presumably for hammering on terrible gator metals. Hey, go away. To stretch man. Keeping the rust off your iron fist, don't eat your henchmen, tips for new rulers, spot-wielding guide for ad hoc fortresses. It is pretty much what you'd expect. Well, except this one here, that seems to be interesting. To stretch man, it's an exercise book. You found the least comfortable chair in the world. This is the real seat of power. Flush it. A filthy scepter. Wunderbar. This hole leads down to a massive underground chamber. Climb down. Too long a drop for how scared you are of drops. a loose length of rusty chain. Grab it. Shoebox is waterlogged, a real surfeit of nouns. See if there are any shoes in it. Wide loafers. Investigate. The barrel's able to chloroform, and so does the smell leaking out of it. Woof. Dump it out. I see what you're going for, sure. Filling the place with chloroform fumes would knock out all the guards, but also knock you out, and the water you're standing in is almost knee-deep. You can also double-check your to-do list if you want, but I'm pretty sure you don't have drown scheduled on for today. I mean, I might. You don't know. Let's try these wide loafers. Oof. Property private. Now scram. You don't know what this object is, but oh, wait, it's got blood all over it. It's an altar. Touch the weird pedestal. I serious, go away. Whatever this is extremely broken. Try and fix it. All these blocks are clearly trying to move in a way that makes sense. They must have got knocked out of alignment. Realign them. You move the blocks around relative to each other until they start moving in a more satisfying pattern. Assuming you're a person who thinks a smooth, circular pattern is more satisfying than a juddery, sparking, spewing chaos. Surely everybody's that kind of person. This has to be right. Yep. This device seems less broken now. Use it. Ow! Hey! Ow! Good grief. You wouldn't have fixed it if you know it'd be so ungrateful. This gator's using dangerous Roberto power. Warning, kill you. Is this some kind of ancient temple guardian or something? It's shooting out a bunch of weird, tightly focused beams of light that science doesn't have a name for yet, but you can probably see we don't want touching you. Let's destroy this son of a bitch. Ouch. 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 Son of a bitch. We don't want to get him too much stronger. Wait, why is it still alive? Shit, I didn't mean to do that. God damn it. Ow. 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 It can increase its mysticality all at once. Oh, there's a new one there. I see it now. Still, it can increase its mysticality all at once. You won. That's the last time that thing will do whatever it was doing. Yay! It's probably destroy that weird shooty guardian device which you destroyed. No need to mess with it. You worst. I destroy. Goliath, kill! Huh. Oh, jeez. That guy did a real number on this guy. That thing really did a real number on this guy. Search the puddle. You poke around in the mulch until you find something that's more or less like an iron key, except kind of blurry. It sizzles and twitches in your hand as you pick it up. Got a cursed key. You look at that hulking Goliath at the end of the hall. There doesn't seem to be anything beyond it, and it looks like it could squash you in an instant. Probably best to continue your search up above. You make your way quickly back up to the common room of the fortress. Phew. It's Charles. He's in a cage. It's a cage with Charles in it. Charles. Shh, he'll hear you. Don't worry, the guards are all preoccupied with dinner. I'm glad I wasn't invited. You're the adventurous type and all. You know how to pick a lock? Only with the appropriate shaped key. You'll have to get the key off the leader in the hall. Leader then. I think his room's down the other end of the hall. You mean this one? Found the key? I think so. It's kind of weird though. Yeah, I don't like the looks of it. I bet the dollars did donuts that it's the artifact we're looking for. Couldn't possibly be the key to this random gator cage in the middle of nowhere, could it? Well, normally it might have some key-related... Well, it might have some key-related powers. Normally I'd advise against using it, but I don't see any other way out of this mess. Okay, here goes. The key shifts unpleasantly in your hand and buzzes, clicking through a jerky slideshow of shapes, as though searching for the particular slice of higher dimensional object that will fit this lock. When it finally finds the right one, it jerks in your hands and twists, and the lock opens. Your hand feels numb. Thanks, Blues. Thought for sure my bacon was well and truly fried. Don't mention it, Charles. Let's get the heck out of this dump. And no further cost to stick around, apart from any unfinished side quests you might have, but you can always come back later. You escort Charles back to town. Blues, you found the cursed artifact and Charles. Back home safely. I can't express how grateful I am. I don't know what we'd do without him. Thank you so much. Ah, well, it wasn't nothing, but, you know. Yeah, I get it. Don't forget to uncurse that thing before you go to bed. This key seems like it has the power to open any lock. That would be extremely useful. Would it really be all right if I didn't uncurse it? Well, I'm not going to drag it in the machine to force you to do it, but yes, I don't actually know what would happen if you don't uncurse it. But I assume things would be pretty bad. Look, you uncursed all the other things, right? Yes. Great, so go ahead and uncurse this one too. Better safe than sorry. Maybe later. But first, we're going to call it a video here. I'm the Blues 32. This is Shadows over Loathing. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.